Good evening and welcome to another video with the Bench Jeweler. I'm Mike and we own mybenchjeweler.com, and tonight we're going to go over a few things that came up over the last the last week or so. One of them is that we had to remove, YouTube removed I think 3. And we went through and removed all of the videos that had anything to do with a trademark name. I screwed up, and without realizing it, 2 words that related to a trademark apparently you can't use. So I have removed the 2 words, and I voluntarily went through and removed any videos that had those words in it. I'm sure you could use just the words, but apparently you can't write them down because it makes it a trademark. So to do no justice to any individual who has worked hard to put his product in line and build patents for them. And by the way, trademarks are not cheap. We've had a couple we set up for websites, and they were over $5,000. Maybe you can do it cheaper per state, but to do a nationwide or worldwide, it is really expensive. So we're not after trying to create any problems. We had a gentleman that got on our YouTube, and rather than make comments and generally constructive comments on our website, he went ahead to go ahead and tell people that our products were junk, that wouldn't advise you to use them, that they were poor quality. I'm not going to tolerate that. I don't care who you are. If you have constructive and good comments and ideas, we will listen, and we will not remove you from our videos. But if you come in and pull the crap he did, he was blocked. I figured out how to block him. I blocked him. He's done. He's not coming back. At least I hope he ain't. he ain't doing us any good. He ain't doing anybody else any good. This guy was, I don't know, a madman from Mad Max videos or something. But he certainly was not a very smart person. I will not give names, and I'm not going to give names of other companies because I'm not going to help them out, and I'm not going to degrade them. So we'll get over that situation and move on a little bit. So I went through all of the videos, and anything that remotely said air blank, I removed it. So sadly, I lost about 60% or 70%, 80% of all the videos that I had made, and was proud to show on YouTube my progress. And I'm not going to go back and redo the videos. It's just too much time consuming to do it. We do have a lot of nice products, and we have had to rename a few of them, and I'm going to try and clear all that up here. That's why the first little introduction here on engravers. I'm thinking I got to be careful what I say. Our engraver, the word pneumatic means air, so we are using an APG engraver, which is this style right here. This one, this one, this one. We have several of them. And these work beautifully. They are very high powered, and we are marketing them. So they use a lot of old technology, 60, 70-year-old technology, and patents of that nature have long expired. So we're safe there. So I'd like to change these handles a little bit, but for right now they work beautifully, and you really don't, you can hold them, you can twist them, you can turn them, you can spiral them, so they work just fine. So let's go back. Our original, which I was never very happy with, is this one here, which was a pulse engraver, pneumatic pulse engraver, or engraver would be another name that we could use. So a pulse engraver or scriber or of that nature. They use a spring inside of here, and then they use a little piston and I brought one here with me tonight. The little spring, the little spring fits in here, and it goes up against the handle here, and then you use a air compressor that fills up tires, and you remove the piston from those and remove the reed valves, and you get a push-pull or a push and a suction, and that drives that cylinder, this piston, up and down. However, while they work very well, they don't work the best. That's an opinion made by me and nobody else. So the pneumatic pulse engravers I just was never happy with. I had some problems with the foot pedal, the air valve control pedal, which stems for some of the problems I was having. And once I figured that out, and a gentleman on YouTube explained that to me, and once again, for fear of making a grave mistake of trademark names or infringing on somebody's name, I'm not going to give out names of anybody, and that's too bad, because you know, I am so appreciative of everybody who commented and worked with me to develop a very wonderful engraver or engraver. So we took this one here and we played with it, and you undo the nut here, and you can adjust the rhythm and put it in sync, and then once you get it in sync, you go ahead and tighten up the nut, and it would work pretty well. But it just doesn't have the force you'd like, especially when you get your engraver just a slight too deep and you want to pull out of there. It doesn't have mine didn't have the power to do it. So after playing with these for over a year and a half, I finally said, well, we got to find something different. So we decided to try and reduce the amount of air, and we built a smaller version of it right there. And it had the handle on the back here, and it had a little deal for the collet to drive the engraver blade. And it didn't work very well either. So we just scrapped the whole idea after a year and a half and got rid of the pistons. So didn't like them. That was the end of that. So now we also in that time frame started to build some push engravers. And why we built the push engravers is that we wanted to be able to demonstrate how to make jewelry using engraving patterns. And we wanted people to be able to do that on their own, so we developed a few lines of push engravers. And I didn't like the wood ones, and there's no reason that these won't work. The handles are considerably less expensive. But and then you have to use a blade somewhere like this one here, and you have to have this tip here. You have to, that's where you would push it into the engraver, the wood, the handpiece, and you had to grind those to a sharp point. And I think eventually I'll show you how that's done. We have to go back and do all of this over again. So. And like I said, I think it's easier just to redo the whole videos, shoot new videos. So that's why we've been off the air for about 10 days to 2 weeks. I needed time to reconfigure the things that we were doing and what was going wrong. So actually, that gentleman who was complaining and screaming and yelling that we had poor quality and I wouldn't buy and all this, and of course we knocked him off. He actually did me a favor in the fact that you really need to be careful about these trademarks. And also, you don't want to get involved in somebody else's patents that have already been years and years of designing. And we are not after that. Once again, we want to build our own and be able to put them out there on the market so that young people, old people, retired people can use our equipment with reasonable costs and have a lot of fun and learn. So that's a little bit of that, and I think that's enough of it. So we'll move on. Anyway, these have to be ground to a point, and then you have to turn them cherry red. Well, you drill a hole right down the middle of this. I used, I think, about an 1/8 inch or maybe 3/16. I'm not sure. You turn these cherry red, and then you put them in. Well, you hold them in a vise upside down. You turn them cherry red, and you force the engraver. Well, I tell you, it's hard to do this when I'm watching a big monitor. I'm watching the monitor. You put this in the vise, and you turn this red, and you burn it down in like that. And they pretty much stay. And if they don't, you can always use a little epoxy glue and push them back in. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with the wood handle. They work, and they work just fine if you don't want to spend the money. I like to do things the easy way with better equipment. So enough for that, and enough for that. So the next one is that we make this push graver. Now these are all aluminum. This is steel because we started with experiments and then moved on. And it pretty much looks like a regular push graver. It has a flat on it, so that your hand can, let's see if we can get it, your fingers wrap around the bottom of this deal, and then your hand comes out here to the blade, and you have pretty good control of it. And I like the metal ones better. If you look back here on the wood ones, you'll see there's a little groove that they put in here with a lathe, and we didn't do that. We left this straight across because it doesn't really make any difference. And the more moves that you have to do to build the handles, it costs time and money. So we try to get these so we can sell these little sets, and we sell them 2 to a set, or 1, or you can buy 10. But and I tore up and ruined the aluminum shaft. So I had to get my steel one out here. I got it caught while I was trying to do a cleanup on one of these handles, and it wasn't a very smart move. But then I made a few of those dumb moves. I'm sure a few others have done so the same, and then you learn by your silliness. So now I make the handles, as you can see, and then we put the flats on the handles back here, and then I put in a pointed line graver or a bright cut graver because we do a lot of bright cutting, and then I put a flat graver in here because we do a lot of wriggle cutting. And there are some videos up there on my website that show that, RSJ Gold. And if you go to YouTube and type in RSJ Gold, our videos will come up. So, and like I said, everything but just the few trademark ones I made mistakes on. So we'll go on now. Anyway, we make these, and we put a 2.5 inch graver, blank graver in them, and those are adjustable because there's two set screws on these, and it allows us to move it up and down. And that's on the round ones. Now I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do the squares. I ordered some square high-speed steel stock in, and it's 4 inch or 4 millimeter, and it's just too big to try and work with. And by the time you grind all of this down and make it usable for your consumer, it's just too much. And I thought, well, so unfortunately I bought about 20 pieces of this. So I might just try and sell it. Anybody want to buy high-speed steel square 1/4 or 4 millimeter? Another one of those, oops. We'll get this out of the way. So now, the push gravers are designed for jewelry work. I got a flashing on my not sure what that means, either I'm running out of tape maybe. So I'm going to pause right here, and I'll figure out what's going on. Okay, we were running out of airtime, so video time, so I had to erase a bunch of old stuff on the camera, and I forgot to do that before we started. So I had a small interruption. We're back. Anyway, we do a lot of teaching on jewelry, and we are gearing up so that we have kits on the website, mybenchjeweler.com, and be able to, especially if you're retired and you're wanting to make jewelry, the kits allow you to make jewelry and then sell the jewelry hopefully on many different sites, and pay for your tools and kits that we develop. So we'll hopefully we can put out a number of them and keep moving along with the fun of learning and teaching and the education of it. Now we're going to get rid of the push gravers, and let's go to another one. We're building a chase hammer, and it will be probably 35 to 40 Rockwell hard. It's going to be far better than the little inexpensive ones you can buy. And chase hammers are a way to use with both gravers and shaping and forming metal. Mostly jewelry metals of silver or gold. We do use it on brass once in a while too. So these are going to be with a wood handle. I use one now, and it works all right. I've had it for years, but the hardness of the head is just not there. So we've decided to, and this is just our prototype, and once we get it figured out exactly what we want and the cost effective, we'll be selling you some really nice chasing hammers, and they'll be wonderful tools for moving metal and also shaping metals with different types of punches. Some of those types of punches, these are wood dapping tools here that we also sell, and we do that with our jewelry. When we sell our little kits, you get one of these little dapping blocks, which allows you to do some shaping on your silver. You can curve it or shape it at a number of different angles, and these all have different sizes, and they're nice little blocks. They're wood, and they hold up well as long as you don't try and drive a wedge hammer through that. Yeah, a steel hammer on them. But these are the little dapping punches that come with these, and they work just fine. And as long as you're using silver, brass, copper, and that nature, these work beautiful. So we'll get rid of that now. So we went through the dapping blocks, and this is just another type of punch tool, and it's round, and different ways to shape your metal in the dapping block. So move on here. All right, that leaves us. The chasing hammers are done, and we are going to be building these. Like I said, I was thinking of C7 or 4140, and hardening them to about 38 to 42 on the Rockwell scale, so that way they just won't mar up quite so bad, and they'll be nice hammers to have. You know, everybody should have a prize hammer. I don't, but we're gonna have one soon. So now, some of these people ask me, do I make my own equipment? And the answer is yes and no. If I can farm it out I have a local machinist here, and I have another machinist in Florida, and these guys are wonderful people, and so if I can farm some of my work out, I do, but the quality has to be there, and it always is. So all the prototypes and all the first ones that I build test for months on end. As you can remember, we spent years, 2 years trying to build engravers, so of different sizes and nature, and it's very time consuming, and it just eats up a lot of R&D time, and anybody that's done that will agree with me about the R&D, research and development. So we'll move on now. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Now this here is 3mm round high-speed steel, and this is my graver blanks. And I've been practicing with different angles and degrees, and I am building a jig that can do multiple angles that you can use on your graving block or your stones, sharpening stones. And I am also working on a hone that's powered. The motors are here, the power boxes are here, switches, all that are here, and the only thing that I'm having a problem with is the box that I want to house them in. The last one I looked at was $103, and I'm just not going to pay that much. The customers, the consumers can't afford it. So we need to keep this down to where people can afford to do this. And $1,000 for a power hone is just out of the question. We need to get them down there to $300 or $400, and you know, that way you can either use a bench stone or you can move up to the power hone. That's our intention. So the high-speed steel, you can get away with a regular bench block. You need to use a grinder and grind them down a little bit and then smooth them up with. I have just about like a glass Arkansas bench stone, and I mean it is hard, and it will put a mirror shine on your graver tip. Then we'll move on here to these are 2.5 inch is what we cut these at. It seems to be about the right size to engrave with. So the next one is the carbide. This is a 3mm carbide. Now, if you are just starting out, I don't recommend carbide. It takes a diamond blade, and to sharpen these, you can buy a diamond bench stone, but you want to remember that carbide is carcinogenic. The powder or the dust off of these is and can be dangerous. So you have to really be careful and use a mask in a well-ventilated area. And even then, you have to be careful with carbide. It has a poisonous effect. So I like and stay with high-speed steel for no more than I use for bright cutting silver and gold and copper and brass and that. High-speed steel work beautiful. If you're getting into mild steel and gun steel, maybe you would want to move up. But by then you're probably an expert, and I'm not. I kind of smile about that. So we'll get out of the gravers now. Let's get into the next two things. These are our APG pneumatic engravers or scribers or hammer chisels. These have and are no way infringing on anybody else's product. The power on these is beautiful. You do not have to adjust the stroke. The stroke is set for you, and the control valve or the foot pedal really gives you the intermediate power that you want, from very low strikes to very high strikes, and all the power you want. You can drive a piece of metal pretty deep with a graver. And again, we will do some show and tell on this at a later date. Right now, I'm just trying to get these out to you so you can see what's going on. Now, the pneumatic engraver or hammer chisel or scriber or whatever you want to call that. We call it an APG power engraver. And these have a ball bearing piston, and they have a body valve, and our valve is designed so it doesn't have a problem with peening. A lot of the older valves had a lot of problem with that. The piston would go up and hit them and then mangle the metal. So we've eliminated that problem. And moving on. So These pneumatic engravers are for sale. They are on our website, and I have a dozen of them or so in stock here yet. So let's see, what are we looking at? Oh, I caught a little screw and I couldn't figure out what that was in my videos monitor. So the one thing that these handles are about an inch, and they're not flat on that. They're rounded on the back side, and they don't have the flat on them like the push graver does here. But once you get used to these, there's actually no problem. They use a collet, and we provide collets with them. So we are working on two designs of this. We are looking at a smaller design. This is about the original size of that, and what we're trying to come up with is a smaller version of it for people who have smaller hands or lighter hands. This one here is a long ways off, so it's not even in the R&D development anymore. But these work, and these work extremely well. And we'll be re-demonstrating all of our engraving tools in the next couple of 3 weeks. So I apologize for not having one on last week. We try to get a video up every week, but you know, that's quite hard to do once in a while, and we're having a lot of problems trying to redo all of our videos. So we'll get back to you, and appreciate it as always for watching our videos. And I'm trying to shut this one down, so we're getting pretty windy here. But we're sure having a lot of fun, and it's very educational, and we enjoy teaching people newer and easier tricks to the trade, especially if you're just starting out. So with that, the bench jeweler is going to say goodnight, and I'll get this video up to you, and happy dreams, and stay safe, everybody. I know the COVID is still giving us heck. Some of my staff, if they get sick, I absolutely make them stay out, and we do pay them. So I just don't want them sick. You know, if they got a little toothache or a headache, or I just don't care. I don't want them. I don't want them getting ill health. So it has slowed us down quite a bit with all kinds of stuff, but we're getting along just like everybody else. So once again, thanks again for watching the videos. Thank you for all the help that you've given us in the past and in the future. And God bless you all. Take care.